Today, I wanted to talk about the situation where people feel abandoned. Okay. 2 days ago, I was talking to a lady who saw my previous, I think, podcast probably, and she wanted to discuss about her feeling of loneliness and, her sense of, facing that altogether abandonment in her life and feeling that you have absolutely no one to care for you. And so, how do you deal with all these things? And finally come to a situation where you feel loved, happy, and taken care of. So, yes, everyone wants a quick fix. All of us, the way we have, so the very first thing that the main topic that I wanted to begin with is that we have been conditioned to believe a certain number of things, okay, about life, about happiness, about love. So, the very, very first step would be to actually look back, connect the dots, and see where did we get these ideas from. We tend to think that sense of fulfillment will come only after being in a certain kind of relationship. We tend to feel that only when the person whom I like, when that person gives back love to me, validates me, or when I have a lot of admirers and situations like that, do I have the right or the opportunity of being happy and loved and taken care of. I need a lot of people to pamper me and things like that. So you first got to think of the situation in a very, very logical manner. Okay. So do one thing, take out your diary, write down what are your expectations with love? What are your expectations with happiness? Like, when will you be happy? And things like, what is your idea of being taken care of? Once you write down that list, in the process of writing down that list, you will understand that this is kind of a super leveled up set of illusions that we are landing into. I should be taken care of. My parents should buy me this. The guy or the girl I like should like me back. But this is not love, right? Love is not something which happens through conditions. Like, if I love someone, then that person should love me back. Otherwise, I'll be unhappy. That is not love. You have put T and C, terms and conditions apply. That's a deal. That means you don't love that person at all. And what is hurt is not you or your soul or your heart. What is hurt is your ego. It's kind of a rejection fear. So, first, give enough time to understanding these expectations, understanding how sensible are these expectations, and how many other people are actually getting those things. Like, because the mind really loves to do one thing, which is compare. This one has this, my friend, my cousin, my whoever, all these people are having the best of things in life. So first, see what are these best of things, compare your expectations with how natural, normal, sensible are they. That's the first step towards healing this abandonment wound, the sense of rejection, the sense of loneliness, and absence of fulfillment and happiness. Then I'd say then, that actually starts and begins your journey. Let's say you had a heartbreak, okay? You liked someone and you thought that this person also liked you. I'm just giving an example. It may be any other situation. So the lady I was talking to, she had um, undergone a divorce and she had also been heartbroken. So I'm just combining all these things together, which gives you a sense of abandonment. So some people can also have abandonment since childhood and we have not even realized that. So when you look at the situation, first of all, journal that up. I'm sure some people must be thinking at this point of time, she's only talking about journaling up, writing things down, and that's so boring. But I'm talking about real, remedies. I'm talking about something that really helps. Okay. Something which has taken roots deep within your heart to hurt you, to get you into tears, should be taken off with some attention and with some hard work, I believe. So it's not all that easy that, you click or you snap your finger and then it's gone. So you got to write that down. You got to write that down. If possible, write it in a plain sheet, loose sheet, I would say, and with a black pen, tear it off, burn it in the fire, and get the ash, flush it off. This is an energetic release. I'm sure a number of people will say this is so illogical. But all these people who think this is illogical are overly logical people who are not ready to believe that there is something beyond the physical world, the tangible world, which exists. There's something like energy. What happens to a person who dies? The body is still there. If you thought that it's only the physical self, then what happened to the body? The body is still there. How come the person is dead? There's something like energy which does exist. So, this energetic release on a regular basis, perhaps, or on a weekly basis, will take a huge load and huge amount of um, negative energies off your mind. This is going to be a big, very, very big help. Now, when you've written at least two, three times, let's say today you wrote, after 2 days again you wrote, whenever something comes up to your mind, you remember something, you cry over it and you write it down and burn it off, flush it. When you've done it like two, three times, now you have already come into acceptance. There was one question one student was once asking me. She's also my mentee, so she has been in my spiritual courses. She used to ask me something like, "How to stop overthinking?" How does overthinking at all seep in? Overthinking comes in where you are under feeling. This is something that I read in a book, and I again read it somewhere else on Instagram itself. Overthinkers are under feelers. Before I feel the hurt of rejection, let me jump into another relationship, or let me go and play a game, or let me just go and have fun with my friends and people. When you do that, you think you have kind of escaped, but you have not. In fact, you are allowing that emotion to stay on for a very, very long time. So the best way is to go into acceptance. Acceptance would require your time. So the best idea is, when you're hurt, you are hurt. Take out time for yourself. Other things can wait. Work on it. I'm not guaranteeing that if you give 10 days to it, maybe 10 years down the line, you will not remember that person or that hurt. But it will not, you know, it's like a wound, like a physical wound. It needs tending. This emotional wounds, all these emotional wounds also need tending. So if you tend to it at the moment itself, when it's required, when it asks you to cry, if you cry and you write down things and you express yourself, if you don't have someone to tell all these things, you can always tell your diary. And I'd always say that when you write negative things, don't keep those things with yourself. A lot of my mentees who have come to me, they had to burn a number of diaries to get into healing, because what has happened is you've written a lot of negativity in your diary. So an entire diary is filled with negative emotions. Don't do that, and do not mix the positive and negatives ever together. So you got to get into the state of acceptance to be able to live through it, to be able to breathe through it. That is how you are going to come out of it. The way out of the pain is the way through the pain. There is no shortcut or something, you can just forget it. It's not like that. So these are something like, which may seem like a very, very healing, kind of healing based experience. Let's move on to the next one again, which is very, very spiritual. Something that everyone must do every morning. And I'm not talking about prayer. Now, prayer is wherein most of us prepare a list of things, okay? God, please give me this. Or you start with affirmations. I am 62 kg and I own a bungalow and I have like 10 cars. I'm not talking about that. The first thing that you should begin your day with is gratitude. Gratitude does not have to be like, I have met people who told me, what should I be grateful for? I remember, um, must have been 3 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I was leaving the school and I was teaching class 10th. And I said, you must write gratitude. There's a chapter in class 10th related to God. I don't remember. It's the first chapter. And so I was telling that, if you had to write a letter to God, what will you write? And then some people said, what should I thank for? I don't have anything in my life to thank for. You just look at your own body. The body is filled with magic. When my leg fractured a few days ago, like a few months ago, just 1.5 months ago, I was still on the bed. I literally thought everyone's walking was magic. And then I remembered my own time. I thought, okay, will I be able to walk for 1.5 hours every day again? Will I be able to do yoga? Will I be able to dance? Perform all those Bharatanatyam steps? Walking is such a big thing. With your own hand, if you can do things, if you can cook, if you have parents, if you are living inside a house, just look around and think that, how much thankful you should be. So everyone has a struggle life, struggle, some kind of struggle in their lives. And I was just coming back from temple today, and I was watching a lot of kids come to me for, expecting some kind of prasad or something I am going to give them. And I didn't have much, but whatever I had, I gave. And I was just wondering that I'm so fortunate and grateful that my kids at this point of time are studying in one of the best school of the city. Because there are so many kids who do not go to school ever. Don't I have a reason to be thankful? Oh my God. So you got to look at what you have and not look at what you don't have. And why am I linking this with sense of abandonment and not being taken care of and being heartbroken, things like that? Look at all those people who are still there in your life. I've seen a lot of people think about, oh my God, how does this, woman actually operate? A lot of, women I already know who are suffering in the marriage, and they look at me with pity. Oh my God, how is she managing two kids alone? And I think I am the luckiest of the females because I've got two very, very beautiful and loving kids, and I don't have to tolerate the tantrum of a household where I'm kicked out and I'm not loved and I'm insulted and I'm disrespected. No one cares for what I speak. I run my life my way. So you got to look at what you have. And I'm not trying to say that I'm better off. Okay, whatever you have in your life, you got to look at the positives of that, right? What you have, you got to be grateful for that. And how do you write a gratitude? You write at least 10 gratitudes every morning. It should not be done mechanically. I've seen many, many people do that. कि चलो 12 बजे भी उठ के let's do that. और क्या लिख दूँ और ये भी लिख दूँ ये ग्लास के लिए कुछ. No, don't do that mechanically. You got to take out, if you can't write 10, write just 5. But take out enough time, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to feel it. So let's say, today I may be thankful for, you know, um, the littlest of things like, having a lift, having an elevator in my building, because the doctor has asked me not to walk on stairs presently, like to take more time because of the fracture. So I'm so thankful that I'm in a building where there is an elevator and I don't have to do something which is extraordinary, goes against, my present body situation. So I may be very, very thankful for that. And I may feel, oh God, I'm really thankful that, my energies are saved and my leg can heal better. So you really got to give, yourself the opportunity of being thankful for what you have and not think of what you don't have. If you have a body which works fine, if you have, some people in your family, if you have some friends or at least one or two people in your life who love you, if you have a house to live in, you are getting food to eat every day, I think you have a lot to be grateful for. That is something when you get into the, this frequency of gratitude, you realize that there's a lot of happiness which you were absolutely missing on. And why do I talk about this? It's not just, like, like scratching it from Hinduism or from Christianity and talking about it. I'm sure every religion talks about gratitude, but what I'm talking about is very, very scientific. How is it scientific? I always talk about this in a number of my podcasts I've mentioned. Um, Go and find out Dr. David R. Hawkins and Map of Consciousness. So Dr. David R. Hawkins back in the 1960s was talking about emotions having a certain vibrational frequency. So when you're at a certain emotion, you feel something, your body vibrates at a certain level, which creates your further reality. All of those people who are not understanding what I'm trying to say, move on the lines of law of attraction. What your mind is manifesting for you, I'm talking about that frequency. You need to be at a higher frequency to attract a better life. The lowest frequency is shame, sharm. And patriarchy very, very rightfully, happily gives it to women. Sharm औरत का गहना होता है. So now you understand that there is a lot of manipulation which has been done. Gratitude is at a very, very high frequency. Gratitude is just around love. Love is at a high frequency of 700. And that is why the society cannot tolerate people in love. Right? People, society wants people to be at frequency of 20, which is shame. A lot of working mothers suffer from guilt. Right? All these emotions which are gifted a lot of times, like gifted to women. If you're working, you've got the great opportunity to be in a family. And if you're not working, then, you got to be a machine anyway. You got to contribute in some way. While the reality is you're contributing in both the ways, but you're made to feel bad. And I'm sure that men are having their own challenges, and I would not want to, kind of distract from the main point. So coming back, gratitude is a very, very high frequency. When you be at the situation of gratitude, not only do you feel happy, you also attract better people, better situations in your life. I cannot say more to, actually get you to understand the importance of gratitude. Then this lady I was talking to the other day, and she said that she told me, Aishwarya, you have two kids, so that is why you feel loved. And so I'm sure from her perspective she was right, but thinking that you are alone, you're divorced, and then you again get your heart broken, and then thinking that, oh, I wish I had kids. No, that's not so easy. There are a lot of women who are divorced. There are a lot of women, who are in the family, and they feel, I wish I didn't have kids. I know a lot of women, they will not speak about it publicly. I'm proud of myself that I absolutely love my children, and I'm very, very grateful to be a mother. I've heard women say that you look young, like till 3 4 years ago, like women would say, if you didn't have children you could have remarried. Please, whatever, I can remarry any day I want. Oh, there's no dearth of men. But the fact is that I'm very, very grateful for my children. Gratitude comes here. And the second thing that I was wanting to talk about as the next point is, love is not only something that you receive. If you receive love, like you receive the love of your mother, you feel so fortunate. But I'll tell you one thing, which is very, very important and maybe a secret for some of you, that love is felt even more when you give it. Love is felt even more when you give it. So I feel absolutely filled with love. My heart opens up. I feel filled with love when I give love to my kids, when I do things for them, when I cook for them, when I keep the house clean for them, when I teach them. When I pick up every book and I realize that, oh, even if I didn't study very seriously in my school, I can still teach it to them. Or, when I help them grow in their life, I think I feel absolutely loved. And I can see that in their eyes and I receive it back. So it's like, when you give love to, then I was talking about giving this, and, she said, the same lady said to me that you have kids and you're so fortunate. So I didn't, enter into the domain. I did not navigate this path of saying that that's a perspective. The grass seems greener on the other side always. If you don't have kids of your own, there are kids in the orphanage, there are old age homes, there are many people out there who need love. So she began with saying that, and she was absolutely right in whatever she was saying, but what I'm wanting to point out here is the fact that she said that I always give donation. I don't know, for some reason I don't believe in donations. I used to give it 2 3 years ago when I was in job, and I thought that it's a great idea. But when you give donation, it's a great noble thing that you're doing. It's also kind of putting yourself away and saying ki chalo main acha kaam kar raha hu. The reality, the best thing would be when you would go and give your time and emotion into serving others. That is the best kind of, you know, um, uh, service. That is also another way to feel loved. When you feel, like it is said, that's a very, very common thing. I'm sure everyone has noticed. When men love, a woman, then they feel better about marrying this woman. Even if the woman wants to die for the man will not marry this woman. You know why? Because there's something very straightforward in the man's brain. The man's brain has lesser emotions than women's brain. Women's brain are filled up with so many emotions which may drive them. And I'm talking about scientific things, okay? So men are very clear about this, that I should love her. Okay? A normal and a good and an honest man would marry the woman whom he loves and not the woman who loves him back. Now, arranged marriages are different things. So that is because you feel better about yourself by the capacity of giving love to others. That's maybe a very, very big secret that I've revealed to you. But if you really feel the absence of love in your life, you must take out time to go and love someone. And that love does not have to be jumping from, if this guy does not work for me, then let me get hold of another guy. Or if this girl is not giving me something I want, then let me get hold of another girlfriend. No, I'm talking about unconditional love wherein you have no conditions, no expectations. So a lot of people want boy in their family because they think that, budhape ki lathi, retirement policy. I am not bringing up my sons as a retirement policy. That's an unconditional level of love, and I'm giving them absolutely everything from a point of having no expectations. But at the same time, I also nurture myself, which is another point I'm going to talk about. So, you know, I'm not talking about giving donations, I'm talking about giving time and your emotions and your energy into nurturing something. If you don't have an orphanage or anything around, you can actually take care of plants, you can take care of pets, and do it all without expectations. That is called service, that is called love. With expectations, TNC, like you have the typical arranged marriage, you give dowry, so then this IHN guy is going to get married to you. And then after that, all these things, this is not love, this is deal. Arranged marriages are deals, right? And that is why now these days, these days now that the women are getting empowered, they're not ready to tolerate nuisance. So if you want to feel more loved, give more love. Then the next thing that is very, very important is to talk to your inner child. There is a book called Self Parenting. And if you go and read this book, it talks about connecting with your inner child. We have a sense of feeling. I've heard a lot of women say things that, like, not just women, I've heard men also saying things like that. I used to do this, in my childhood, I would go and play, or in my childhood, I would go and sing songs, or I would dance. Why should be that, why should that be only an aspect of your childhood? Why can't it be an aspect of your present lifetime? So, only a few days ago, I was again working through a book on shadow works, and I worked through the book entirely. The whole day I gave to it. And towards the end, to take a break, I was watching a reel, and then I saw that there was a mother and a daughter in the reel, and they were dancing on a song called Chum Chum Chum. And the mother had taught the girl, the mother herself was looking so young, and the girl had long hair and she was dancing. And then I suddenly realized that this is what I was. This is what I was, when I was a child. And then I started writing of all those things of my childhood, because I've been a singer since childhood. From the age of 2.5, I used to sing, and I've continued doing that. But this was an aspect which I had kind of sidelined, or my shadow had sidelined. And I realized, no, I've been a lot about my body. I wanted a fit body always. I wanted to look beautiful. I wanted to, wear all those feminine things and carry the feminine attributes. And getting the haircut short, or all these things, were something which were imposed on me, or because of being educated at the convent, I had to do. And then I suddenly discovered and saw my inner child again very, very clearly, that this is what I really wanted. So you got to connect with your inner child. And the best way to connect with your inner child is through meditation. And I was about to talk about this. Mindfulness is very important. You sit down and, quietly closing your eyes, just observing your breath. I'm not talking about Vipassana right now, but while you're observing your breath for 2-3 minutes, just think of your childhood. If you have a picture of your childhood, let's say 2-3 years old, you get hold of it and think about, what did this girl or this boy want? That's very, very important. If you are not getting clear cut answers, ask your parents. What did I do in my childhood? I remember my elder sisters, I used to, that's too funny actually to be even talked about, but there used to be this tights, black tights, which I would put on my hair, and I would believe that I have such long hair. So I always was fond of long hair, and that's a dream which is still unfulfilled. And I think I have to walk that territory of, fulfilling that dream as well. So the entire idea of, connecting with your inner child and nurturing those things. So how I look at my inner child is, I look at my inner child as my child. And I'm like, friends with my inner child. Say, what more do you want? Do you want to eat this? Or do you want to write another book? Let's write something on love, or let's write something about these things. And it is like a real, and this is something like a psychological exercise. Some people may think, oh, Ishwarya is going crazy. But no, those are the ways. That is why people who undergo all these things, they are the ones who are the happiest. They are the ones who are not running the rat race. No, we are the ones. So that is why I'm telling you that discover what you wanted to do in your childhood and rekindle those things, rekindle that talent or that skill or that attribute about yourself, and do it. That's one way you will stop feeling loneliness, because you feel lonely right now because you've continuously abandoned yourself. What is the entire idea of self love, or what is the entire idea of shadow work? Where does the shadow come from? You have been rejecting yourself since childhood. Let's say I'm a 4-year old, and I was running here and there, and maybe I broke a glass in my house, and my mother shouted at me. That's very natural of mothers to do that. When my mother shouted at me, I got this part of Ashwarya to move away, which was the one who was running around the house, because of which the glass broke down. Or I did something which was unacceptable by an adult, maybe by my elder siblings or by my teacher, whoever, some authority figure, by my father, or maybe I was told as a young girl that all the characterless girls go and find out guys for themselves. Then I said, no, I am not characterless. I'm someone who is absolutely intact in character. So I'm not going to look for a guy for myself, even though I love someone. That's where we start fragmenting ourselves. And that's where absence of self love begins. That is what causes abandonment, and not someone externally leaving you causes abandonment. You feel the pain then because it's kind of rubbing salt on your wound, because you're reminded of that same emotion. Oh, I have to leave a part of myself. That is why. When you start integrating back the parts of yourself from here and there, you start feeling happy. And I am a living example of it. I don't care for what people think about me or what people are wondering about me, because I think what I really care for is I should be happy. If I'm happy and content, it does not matter whatever is happening to the world. Of course, it's not like, others are dying or others are, in some losses. No. But if my happiness causes sadness to someone else, then it's their problem, not mine. So you need to come to this situation. The next point of how to be happy and not feel lonely and get rid of heartbreak and all those things, being feeling more cared, is to be in mindfulness, in meditation. If you feel that you cannot sit quietly, then you can also try some of the guided meditations on YouTube. Okay, so you got to sit with your, in that Sukh Asan. You can always Google search what is Sukh Asan. Hindi mein we call it Palthi Maar ke Baithna. And then have both your hands open, or you can have it in Gyan Mudra on your thighs. It should not move out of the thighs, it should be within the thighs. And let your spine be absolutely straight from your head to the tailbone, because there are the chakras, and that is how you start receiving energy. And start observing your breath. If you think your mind is too loud, then you can start with guided meditation. Let your mind be guided by those words in the meditation. But something that everyone needs to know is that meditation from the very first day will not be very, very peaceful. Okay. And having your thoughts interrupt you is like, all right. That's 100% all right. Some people think that when I will sit into meditation, then I should be absolutely quiet. My mind should be absolutely quiet. That is not the case. The entire idea of meditation is to observe your thoughts. That's something that I was not told. So 6 years ago, when I started with meditation, I was not told. But then I just told myself, I'm not going to listen. Let me just, keep quiet, and whatever, at least I'm quiet for that time. So the idea is that if there is a bottle which has a lot many holes, you try to fill water inside it, the water will not get filled because there's so many holes. But if there are no holes, if you get rid of all the holes and then you fill water, then the water will be there, staying intact. So that is why you close your eyes. If possible, you close your ears also. Close your ears in the sense that, there are these buds for meditation. I don't think you would need it. If you can sit in a quiet room, it's best. If you cannot, then you might use something. So, and just let your mind speak aloud. My Vipassana in the morning, like the first half an hour of the morning, is, it all begins with, oh my God, I have to do this today. Oh, that thing had to be, that was broken, so I have to buy a new one. I have to wash clothes. So the first 10-15 minutes is only the list of things I have to do. Then the next 10-15 minutes is like feeling alive and, only observing the breath. The thoughts will come. Don't think if the thoughts are coming, then, that's not meditation and you're getting more and more tensed. There is a statement which says if you cannot make it absolutely dark, then at least dim the light. So absolutely dark in terms of having no thoughts, please dim the light. Don't take tension that I'm still thinking, okay? Some other people have problems like, oh my God, I fall asleep. It's all right. Do you see the healing capacity of meditation? That's the first healing capacity of meditation, that it makes you feel sleepy. What makes you feel sleepy? Your mother's voice makes you feel sleepy. What makes you feel sleepy? If you are in a, during winters, if you come across warmth, if you switch on the heater, then you feel sleepy, right? Or in the summers when you switch on the AC, then you feel sleepy. Why? Because you're feeling relaxed and calm. So do not run away from this. Don't think that I am not good enough for meditation. Many people start with saying, I am not meant for meditation. No, everyone is meant for meditation. So when you start off with this, the only thing is that after 1 week, you got to be cautious that no, today I'm going to try to be sitting quietly and listening to my thoughts, and I'm not going to sleep. Okay. It's the will. Where there's a will, there is a way. And there was one more thing that, um, very, very important thing when it comes to heartbreak, I really wanted to talk about was the fact that I've heard a lot of women say, out of jealousy, out of whatever it comes to be, they say that I'm not attractive, or something like, I think men don't find me attractive. I've also heard men say that, like really handsome guys say that, like I remember one of the faculties 3 4 years ago. So this teacher, he was also a teacher in that school. He was very tall and he was handsome, and I think he was some sports or something. And I told him that you look like my younger cousin. Okay. And I also showed him the picture that, see, he's just 4 years younger to me, and you look like him and you speak like him. When I said that, he was like absolutely, you know, sad. And he said that, ma'am, मेरे को सब लोग भाई क्यों बना लेते हैं? You don't understand. Like, he already had a wife, by the way. Another time this also happened with another colleague, and he said कि मैं भाई क्यों दिखता हूँ सबको? I said कि at least first of all I'm 10 years older to you, so why should you not look like a bhai to me? This entire idea of not being attractive to the opposite gender is something that is deep rooted within you. It's deep rooted within you. Ask yourself that question. Do you think you are beautiful? Do you think you are sexy? Do you think you are hot? Do you think you're attractive? Ask these questions from yourself. If the answer is negative, that is what is being reflected in the opposite gender. And I'm not trying to say that the opposite gender does not like you. I'm not trying to, by any chance, like, guarantee that, yeah, that's the truth. I'm not saying that. You got to ask, do you love yourself? We are very, very, bold and very, very clear in saying things like, no one loves me. Everyone is cruel. The entire world is cruel except you, right? Why are you manifesting this reality over and over again? Why don't you just settle down with yourself and ask yourself these questions? Why is it only happening with me? It's a very important and pertinent question. Have you been loyal to yourself? Whatever happens with, let's say something that you've been attracting number of times, you got to ask yourself that question. If you get cheaters all the time, if you get people who are not interested in you all the time, or who are interested in you for some things, you got to ask this question. Do you have this quality in yourself for yourself? If back to back you got three people who are disloyal to you, are you loyal to yourself? Like, you already knew that this person is not going to commit to you for long. Why did you continue with that person? You got to ask these questions. You were head over heels for that person. Didn't you see the red flags? And I'm definitely not the person who has been on the right path, or like, from the very first day I was born, I attracted the right relationships. No. But through grace of God, through spiritual practices and experiences, I think the knowledge comes to me, and that is why I'm sharing the knowledge with everyone. Whatever whatever is the problem that is repeating in your life, you got to see it deep within you. How are you disloyal to yourself? How are you cheating yourself? How are you not finding yourself attractive? How are you rejecting yourself all the time? Because when people are in love, it's not the fit body or a big bank balance or the same community or the same age and opposite gender that people look at. Love is something which cannot be explained in words. Love is an energy which exists between souls, right? So to be able to attract the right person, you will obviously have to be in the right vibrational frequency, or you will have to be like quiet and calm and happy with your life like I am, right? So I'm hoping that I have been able to give you some ideas, at least one or two of them work for you. There were around 7 to 8 points. I will just go through them again very quickly. First of all, you have to understand that the conditioning was wrong. Through Bollywood movies and all, we've been made to believe that it has to be like this. The guy has to be after the girl, or you always receive love, or Papa ki pari, and all those kind of conditioning. You have to understand. So please go through it, write down your expectations, and see how sensible are they. Okay. Second point, I was talking about accepting the situation, scripting number of times, and I told you about the Vaman Kriya, wherein you write with a black pen on the sheet, and you tear them off, and then you burn it and flush the ash. Okay, that's energetic release. And when you do this number of times, you will see you will rescript and understand that if this person did not love me or did not continue with me, it was for my benefit, right? All those people who have been divorced will tell you differently much later that it was good that he left me. Thank God. If I would not have taken that path, I would not have been a writer, a best-selling author, and a TEDx speaker, and such a happy person. So whatever happened for your benefit. You got to realize that. Third thing was gratitude. You got to write the sentence as I am grateful or thankful for. You can write the thing, the person, the event, because, and then write the because. That why needs to be answered. Okay. When you write the why, you also got to feel this entire sentence. When you do that, then you will actually escalate your frequency, and you'll attract a better lifetime in future. Then the next thing I talked about, the fourth one, was you must give love to feel love, because giving love, look, for example, the mother gives love and she is filled with love, right? If you watch the movie Maleficent, her heart chakra opened when she actually started loving the child, right? So giving love, and you can go and give love to your pets, to people in the old age home, or people, anywhere. I'm not talking about donation. I'm not talking about staying away and just giving some money. I'm talking about giving your time, energy, value, emotions. Then the next thing I talked about was connect with your inner child. Go back to your childhood, and write down those things that you really like to doing. If you cannot find that, look at your picture and ask the picture. If still you don't get answers, ask your parents, what did I like doing? Rekindle those activities, those emotions, those passions. Next thing I talked about meditation and mindfulness. And the last thing I said that whatever is missing from people in the outside world, ask yourself deep within, do you have those emotions for yourself or not? If people are disloyal, are you being disloyal? If people don't find you attractive, are you the one who's actually finding yourself unattractive? And so on. That's it for today. Signing off, Aishwarya Sinha. Thank you so much. Namaste.